So as of now, Arrow has gained enough success and popularity to be on its third season. And wait, I'm wearing red. Shouldn't I be wearing something green? After all, it's not the Flash I'm talking about. And last time I checked, Arsenal hasn't gotten its own spin-off, so yeah, I better put on something green. After all, I am going to discuss Arrow Season 3, so yeah. So during this season, they have kept confirming one thing that we have known since day one. That Oliver Queen couldn't catch a goddamn break even to save his life. Pretty much literally. And even when he returns from the dead, it doesn't feel like much of a consolation really. I mean, the first episode of this season started out very positively, quite happy. I mean, Diggle was back with his ex, and things started to look quite nice between Oliver and Felicity. That didn't last quite long. I mean, you know, most first dates might go bad because of you don't get along with your date. Maybe you don't care for that person's table manners or anything like that, or you bring up a very inappropriate subject at the dinner table. I don't think that many people can talk about a date going badly because the whole damn restaurant got blown up to smithereens, but that's exactly what happened with Felicity and Oliver's first date. And this was all because of Vertigo, or Count Vertigo. Not the giggling hyena that we first saw, but a new version played by my countryman Peter Stormare, or Peter Stormare, as some Yankees pronounce it. He made it abundantly clear to Oliver Queen that he's afraid of himself, as he took on the appearance of his greatest fear, which was Oliver Queen beating up the Arrow. That was kind of surreal, kind of like the junkyard fight scene in Superman 3. So Oliver figures that he can't date Felicity anymore, and out of bad stuff happens. Turns out that Malcolm Merlyn keeps turning Thea, his daughter, it turned out in last season. He's been trying to turn her into a war machine, even to the point that she doesn't even flinch when somebody spills hot tea on her. That's kind of messed up, that scene in a later episode when they saw that, and she was like, what, it's just burning, sizzling, scalding hot fluid on my body? Big deal. A lot of stuff got introduced in the season premiere. One of my favorite things was Ray Palmer, who later on is gonna become the Atom, played by Brandon Routh, who once was Superman in Superman Returns. Only played him for one film, which I thought was kind of too bad. But, you know, his performance as Ray Palmer makes me realize something else, that, man, he got wasted, and I don't mean drunk by drinking alcohol. I mean, Bryan Singer really didn't bring out much of his talent in that film, sadly. But instead, he really owns as Ray Palmer. I mean, he's kind of like a Tony Stark-like character, except much happier than Tony Stark. Like, he takes over Queen Consolidated and turns it into Palmer Industries, Palmer Tech or whatever, something with his name in it. And Felicity becomes his secretary and a very good friend of his. He's got a lot of ambition and energy, and is a very friendly guy, but he has this dark or sad backstory that his girlfriend or fiance got killed, and this drives him to try to create this tech suit that will turn him into the Atom. One of the biggest bombs that got dropped in this was the fact that Sarah, Laurel's sister, who and also the Canary, got killed just like that at the end of the season premiere in front of Laurel, who then has to keep her death secret from her dad, who's got some health issues as evidenced in the last season finale. So it could literally break his heart and, well, his whole body if he finds out that the daughter he thought was dead and then came back to life is dead again, so to speak. Wow. It's not easy being associated with Oliver Queen. I mean, he's lost almost all of his family, and all he's got left is half a sister. The other half is, you know, Malcolm Merlin's DNA. But anyway, so the death of Sarah really made things very difficult, at least for Felicity, because she has been the most positive and you know, optimistic person of the group. Has a very clear sense of morality also, and that has been challenged a lot with, you know, so many people dying, and then when she hangs out more with Ray Palmer, turns out that he's pretty much the third guy that she cares for who's becoming a superhero. I mean, that scene when he shows her a hologram of his exosuit, and she's like, why does this keep happening to me? I mean, I almost expected her to look into the camera and shrug when she says that, followed by a sound effect. Laurel, well, except for the pressure of keeping this secret from Quentin, she felt the need to, you know, take out her rage on something. So she starts beating up people like this guy who didn't get sentenced for beating his girlfriend. That was kind of a bad move. But then she starts training with Ted Grant, aka Wildcat, who actually was a vigilante before Oliver. So it's kind of nice to know that Oliver Queen isn't the first vigilante in this universe, because that opens up a lot of possibilities, really. Then she became the new Canary and has been posing as Sarah to make Quentin less suspicious. Didn't work too well, of course. Now, Laurel as Canary is very different from Sarah as Canary, because Sarah, much like Ollie and a lot of other masked people, is that she had discipline, she had training. All Laurel has got is rage and a desire to take it out on bad people, which is not a good thing. I mean, we saw this with Huntress, who was a Looney Tune from the start. Laurel isn't quite as bad. I mean, sure, she's got all the bitterness and kind of has been arguing with the wrong people. Runs in the family, I guess. At least now, the rest of Team Arrow have found out about that, and they sort of have been trying to talk her out of at least doing things her way, and pretty much like with, you know, Oliver at the beginning of the show, people have been you know, talking some sense into him and presenting new ideas of how to do good things for Starling City. A great theme in the show is how people aren't exactly perfect. It's not so much that black and white, but very different shades of grey. And well, let's focus on Oliver for a while. I mean, now we get to see flashbacks not on Lian Yu, the island, instead in Hong Kong, where he's being trained by Amanda Waller. That sort of explains some of his methods in, interrogating people, such, and fighting and archery. I mean, he learned that at the island too, of course, but now he's been using that for certain purposes. But he really wanted to, be a responsible guy. I mean, he's done that with Roy, who started getting flashbacks to, killing Sarah. It was more of a construct of memories blended together, because when he had the Mirakuru in his system in season 2, he was not that easy to deal with, and he actually killed a dude. And that sort of planted this thought in his mind that he had killed Sarah, which was not how it happened. Oliver managed to make him remember things as they really did happen with some meditation, and that was really great of him. Great mentoring moment after him having so many mentors and people training him, not just physically but also mentally. And Roy has, grown a lot. He's not really the street thug he once was, or the street thug who wanted to be a vigilante, but now he's Red Arrow, in lack of better terms. I mean, I know he's called Arsenal, but he's really following in Oliver's footsteps, and that's lovely. Oliver finds out that Thea was the one who killed Sarah, because she was under some sort of hypnosis from Malcolm, because he has got this beef with the League of Assassins and Russell Gould, and he knows that Sarah was in a relationship with Ross's daughter Nyssa. So Malcolm Merlyn tried to hurt Russell Gould's family, basically, and he did that by using his own daughter as a weapon, which is really messed up, especially since that turns both him and his daughter into targets. The interesting thing here is that lately we have gotten to see more of how Malcolm Merlyn looks at the world, which is strange, because he's the one who had this psychotic plan of destroying a whole part of Starling City because of something that happened to his wife that was done by one individual. Yes, it's not a nice place to live in, I get, and it hurts a lot of people one way or another, but punishing a whole population of a part of a city, not very reasonable, if you ask me. And still, he actually teams up with Team Arrow when the Glades get taken over by Danny Brickwell, or The Brick, played by Vinnie Jones. It's kind of nice to see him playing this huge-ass gangster, him being such a, big person, a juggernaut, if you will. Brickwell is kind of like the Bane who takes charge, builds up an army of convicted felons and extorts them with, evidence to get them sentenced again. I'm really surprised that he managed to take the entire Glades as hostage. Didn't quite see that coming. Could he actually do that? But yeah. And of course, Ollie was gone for quite some time, since he had to, pretend that he killed Sarah. Not very believable, if you ask me, but he challenged Russell Gould to a duel, and he lost big time. So yeah, Merry Christmas, Oliver! Here's a sword! I know that's not what you wished for, but it wouldn't surprise me if his middle name was Jinx, Oliver Jinx Queen. So when the mid-season premiere started, it was pretty much him being saved and, getting patched together so he can return to Starling City. But when he did, oh yes, what a sweet return, because that's when he stops Malcolm Merlyn from killing Danny Brickwell. And I was, in a strange manner, actually rooting for Malcolm after all the bad things he'd done, because now we understand much better his motivations. Like I said, it's all about, people having flaws and crosses to bear, including Malcolm. Oliver shows up, helps out with, taking down the bricks wall of people, his army. And they used people living in the glades, very similar to the Dark Knight Rises, when the police who were stuck underneath the inside of that tunnel reclaimed the city. And Oliver had this epic speech standing on top of a truck before he takes out his bow, uses it as a bat grapple, and this disappears into the night. And that was so sweet. What wasn't so sweet was that, Felicity was not happy with the fact that he allows Malcolm to have Thea under his protection, and that they had been working with him. So, and she gave him this really huge burn that she didn't want to be the woman that he loves. Because, and also Ray Palmer then. Well, his story arc seems to be very interesting, and one thing that I really enjoyed was when Felicity was really upset about Oliver presumably having been killed by Ra's al Ghul, and she takes it out on Ray, saying that he shouldn't be doing this Adam thing. That's not what his dead fiancé would want him to do. And boy, does she hit a button big time with him, because he's like, never tell me again what she would want me to do. Like, whoa, hey, slow down there, Brandon Routh. I didn't know you could be that angry. So, also, another thing, seems like there's another spin-off coming up. Not Adam, even though that would be quite tremendous. I would love to see Brandon Routh get his own show. But, we're getting an animated spin-off, Vixen, a character I am not all that familiar with, I have to admit. I've mostly seen her in Justice League Unlimited and in some old comic books, but, somebody with the magic ability to, gain the strengths of animals, that seems really cool. We're getting a really huge universe here. I mean, it started out as the Arrow universe, then with Flash we got the Flaro universe, so now with Vixen it's probably gonna be the Flaro-Vixen universe. So if Adam gets his own spin-off, what's that gonna be? The the Flaro-Vixen universe? And like previous times when I've been talking about Arrow, there are probably tons and tons of things I could have brought up in this, but good gosh, man, you're giving me so much joy, Arrow, but I think you're also going to give me an aneurysm sooner or later, so yeah. That's pretty much all I can talk about right now. I have to wrap this up before I run out of oxygen in my brain. Yeah. Toodles!